So now we've done all the talking. You have something you want to say? Or are you afraid of us?
No, not at all. Can I apply everything he just said to my wife in terms of the same thing? Just more loving, less tension, less fighting, less lashing out, the negative.
Well, you can apply it to your wife from your point of view, but you can't apply it to your wife from her point of view, because you can't think for her, you can't feel for her, you can't vibrate for her, and when you try, you fail and you make her mad too.
Mm-hmm.
So of course, this applies to everything, you see.
Yeah.
But what we're really wanting to say to all of you is that your desires are natural, and if you could just do more chilling out. Here's really what it comes down to. Most people, and we love you so much, you know what's coming next, are action-oriented. And in your action orientation, you want to jump into action right away. And often you jump into action, meaning words or behavior, before you have lined up your energy. And when you do, now you're operating under that tension that just doesn't feel so good. We really, really want to call your attention to this process. So do you accept that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and that you launch a preference? And does it make sense to you that all of those preferences gather in this vibrational reality? We wrote a whole book about it, wanting so much for you to accept the existence of this vibrational vortex of creation. Do you accept that there is a vibrational version that is gestating and in the state of becoming? So then, isn't it logical that you have to tune yourself to some extent to what's going on in this vortex in order for the information, the impulses, the thoughts to transfer into your physical life experience? Doesn't it make sense that just like you can't set your radio dial on 98.7 and hear what's being broadcast on 101, the frequencies have to match up. So the frequency of your vibrational reality and the frequency of your now moment in time based upon the thoughts you're thinking, they have to match up in order for that valve to be open and the thoughts and experiences to flow. So when that happens and those thoughts are flowing, it's what we've been calling the sweet spot of experience, because what happens is you're clear-minded, you're sure-footed, you're eager, you're happy, things are unfolding for you, you're rendezvousing with cooperative components. In other words, it is a blissful state of being. Esther calls it a sort of magic that happens. When you're in that place, well, that's what you're striving for all the time. But that means not using as your criteria of how you feel what anybody else is doing or how anybody else is feeling, because that is something for sure you can't control. And yet much of the world wants to. You're living a conditional life or a conditional love. You know, if you'd be different, I'd feel better. If you were more like that person over there, because when I look at that, I feel good, but when I look at this, I don't feel so good. So you need to be more like that so that I can feel better. Sort of how we started with you today. Where if you understand that nobody has to be different, because you have the ability to focus yourself into alignment. And when you do, the leverage that you have, the capacity for love that you have, the capacity for understanding that you have. And sometimes people think, if I just get so good at my alignment, then people around me can just be really, really bad, and I won't get any of the things that I want. But law of attraction won't let that happen. You'll rendezvous with them when they are at their best, you see. So what we're really talking about is this fine-tuning of tuning yourself into that sweet spot. And by that we mean that good feeling place where somebody else doesn't have to stand on their head for you to feel good. You just feel good whether they're standing on their head or standing on your tail. In other words, it doesn't matter what somebody else is doing, you've got it going. So what this subject is about understanding that it's a vibrational game, not an action game, and being willing to do the vibrational work until the action is inspired, instead of trying to do the action to inspire the feeling. Can you feel the difference? It's a big difference. Esther had such an amazing experience just in this last month that helped her fine-tune this within herself in a way like she'd never done before. She has a house in Utah, and it sits on a hill, and it has a sort of grand entrance, and she's been wanting some of those lions that look like they're sort of looking over the place. And so as she's been going from city to city and place to place around the world, she's been admiring lions, some made out of stone, some made out of bronze, some big, some small, all kinds of different postures. And she had a very clear idea of what she was looking for. And so she's been taking pictures and just sort of joyfully enjoying the collecting of data about this. So they were in Alaska in July, and she was in a shop in Ketchikan where she's purchased some wood carvings in past years. And so she knows these boys who work there, and they know her, and they're glad to see each other. And they said, "So what are you here for today?" And Esther says, "Lions. And I don't see any lions around here." And this man said to her, "I'll get you some lions." And so Esther crouched to show him the posture she likes, and stood as tall as she could to show him what she was looking for. And he said, "I'll find them for you." And Esther said, "I know you will." And so a few weeks ago, he called and said, "I found your lions." And he sent her a picture of them, and she said, "You sure did." And he said, "When are you going to be there?" And Esther said, "Whenever you want me to be there. I will meet you and my lions there." So they set a date, and Esther went, and here come the lions. Well, Esther thought she was going to die of happiness. In fact, her joy about these lions was irrational. She started having the thoughts of spiritual material. I'm way too happy about these things. I should be working on world peace or something more important. These lions are making me way too happy. She could hardly contain herself. She did not want to jump up and down and look foolish, but her body wanted to jump up and down. The lions are so magnificent. So there's the lions. Oh, so then over the next few days, she's questioning her own sanity. "Abraham, I should not be this happy about these lions. What's going on?" And we said, "Esther, think about it. Think about the thoughts about them. Think about the rendezvous you've had. Think about the pictures you've been taking. Think about how much you've flowed from a positive place of expectation toward these lions. And now understand that when they manifest, they include all of that vibration. The vibration of the artist, the vibration of everyone who's ever thought anything about them. It goes back to long times, generations even before Esther was born. She's tapped into an energy stream about art, about beauty, but all of the things that she'd been thinking now are manifested here in these lions. Oh, life is sweet, she's thinking, irrationally so. So then they said, "Want a dolphin?" They had a few truckloads of things. "No, thank you." "How about an eagle?" "No, really don't want an eagle. Just these lions, thank you very much." So 8 men unloaded these very, very heavy, very, very big lions and put them right where they belong. And off they went. And Esther said, "Where are you going next?" And they said, "Well, we're on a 30-state tour. All these trucks, all these men, all these things on their truck." And then Esther said, "Where are you headed next?" And they said, "We're going to Texas." And Esther said, "Oh, I live in Texas." And they said, "Want a dolphin?" Esther said, "No, I would really like something more Texas-like maybe a deer or a horse." And they said, "Well, we'll call you when we get close." And so Esther's back in Texas, and they call, "We've got your horse." So they come to the gate, trucks lined up, men opening the back of the trucks, and Esther looks in, and they have magnificent bronze horses. So they unload the first horse, and they needed far more people to get it off. It weighed so much. And once they got it on the ground, Esther thought, "I'm surprised you all didn't die doing that." It was really a difficult task to get that horse out of the truck. And as they put it on the ground, Esther thought, "I don't really like this horse that much. It's a little ostentatious." And then she thought, but how are they going to put it back on the truck? And then she said, well, I really wanted something that was more like a horse just grazing in the field. They said, we've got that too. So they opened another truck and they hauled off another horse and a small horse. So now there are 3 horses. And Esther's looking at the horses and she's thinking, I really don't like these horses very much. But they were thinking, we really want you to like these horses very much. And Esther was thinking, I really want you to be happy, and I really don't want you to hurt yourself putting the horses back on. And so she said, okay, I'll take these 3 horses. So they put the horses around on the property. And Esther thought, I really want to like you. And I'll warm up to you in time, she thought. And then she wrote the check. Off they went. Want a dolphin, they are saying, as they're driving away. Where are you going next? So now Esther is thinking, same men, same beautiful kind of art. Why did the lions turn me inside out? And why don't I feel the same way about the horses? And we said to her, because you didn't flow much energy at all about the horses. You took action with no energy flowing. So it was a moment of impression, but it wasn't the sweet spot. Satisfaction doesn't come from taking an action to compensate for the absence of having flowed energy. This is a leading edge conversation. But don't you wonder why sometimes when you just jump right into action and it feels like, Esther used to say to Jerry, why don't you buy me that car? It will make me happy for the afternoon. And that was about how happy she would be for about how long, because if you haven't given yourself the opportunity, if life hasn't created the process where you've launched the rocket, and if the rocket hasn't gathered momentum with law of attraction and your inner being gathering it, and if there hasn't been a gestation period, if there's not energy flowing to which you are becoming a vibrational match, you're not going to have that sweet spot. The creative process is about energy flowing, and manifestation is about you allowing the energy to have matured enough. It's not about somebody just unloading it and saying, there you go. That's why when you give someone something that they didn't ask for, they say thanks. And it's not because they're not appreciative. It's not because they are jaded. It's not because the children are spoiled. It's because they haven't been given by themselves, and maybe by you a little bit, the opportunity to flow the energy and let their energy mature into something that is a manifestation for them. Can you feel that? Doesn't it make you want to flow the energy? And doesn't it make you, we want it to make you want this. We want you to be less eager to jump into the action and more interested in flowing the energy, more interested in the thought progression, in the interest growing, in the ideas flowing, in the information coming, in the manifestation being a natural next logical step. So we gave you a lot there. It's not just about Esther and her horses and her lions. It is about that. It's a lot about that. What this subject really is about your, we love you so much, propensity to want to jump right to the action and then never really feeling the satisfaction that your action could have given you, because you're trying to use the action to compensate for not having flowed the energy. I don't think we've ever told it to you as clearly as that. But maybe that explains, you see, because so often you think that the reason that you're not feeling good is because that isn't happening in action, or because that isn't happening in action. And that's never the reason. It's your attention to that is causing you to flow your energy in opposing directions. Causing you to flow your energy in opposing directions is the reason you don't feel so good. And when you line up with what you intend, when you make a decision and line up with it, that's when you come into your full power, you see. And that's what you wish for your kids. It's what we wish for you. Something more?
Thank you.
Yeah, really good. Really good.